Welcome back to Misano. This is round 2, race 2 of the Italian F4 Championship, the 10th anniversary season of this, the world's most competitive motor racing series. Although having said that, this morning, race 1, it was a Prema trifecta with the team from Vicenza finishing at 1, 2 and 3. And once again, they lock out the front 2 rows of the grid. Great to have your company for this, the race 2 or round 2. And race 2 of 3 here this weekend. Tuukka Tappinen taking victory, his maiden breakthrough victory in the Italian Championship. You can see the cars are out on the circuit, and in just a few moments we will race under a setting sun on Italy's Adriatic coast. But first, let's hear from the Chinese driver Ricky Liu, who's speaking to Laura Cola.
A competitive race this morning just outside the top 10. Is that your goal now in race 2?
Yes, it's always my goal to get more better position. And yeah, I feel quite good and quite confident for the race now. So yeah, I'm ready.
Good luck.
First year in car racing for the driver from the People's Republic of China, racing with both the Eichmann's Grand Prix team and the Tony Kart racing team throughout 2022. And now with the German US racing team is Ricky Liu, car 66, back on the 9th row of the grid. Was just on the edge of the top 10 in race 1 this morning. Just getting back to that. Tuukka Tappinen starting from pole position in race 1 this morning. Took a dominant, a classy win. His maiden victory in the Italian Championship after finishing as bridesmaid runner-up to the Australian James Wharton in the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 Championship to start 2023. Andreas Genser in the middle of your screen, the Swiss owner of the Swiss team, which took the title with Marcus Siebert, the Argentine, back in 2016. There's Ethan Isher just behind car 27. Great to have the crowds back here at Misano after, well, you know what stopped them in the last 2 years. I dare not mention the C word. As the mechanics leave the circuit here, leave the grid, and in just a moment we will race for the second time this weekend here at Misano. The sun will soon set. It is a 30-minute plus 1 lap race. Round 2 of 7 for 2023. And the Prema drivers lock out not only the front row, but the second row of the grid as well, which looks like this. Arvid Lindblad, the driver from the Kings England, starts on pole position, appropriately enough. On this, the 6th day of May, Ugo out of grid 2. James the Australian and Tuukka Tappinen, who won race 1 this morning, the Finn out of grid 4. The first non-Prema power team car is Kasper Stuka for the US racing team, who won race 1 at Imola 2 weeks ago. Brandel out of 6. Zachary David, the Filipino driver, and Nicola Lacorte, the Tuscan, out of 8. Rashid Aldahedi, Ivan Dominguez on the podium at Imola. Now he starts out of grid 10. Akshay Bora, Aurelia Nobel. She has been impressive. She has been the fastest Brazilian so far this weekend. Il Siciliano, Alfio Spinner, James the American Agozzi, Matias Ferreira, John Marco Pradell. P9 this morning for the Australian, now starting out of grid 16. Ethan Isher, we just saw a moment ago. We heard from Ricky Liu, who starts alongside him from Haifa in the Holy Land of Israel. Ariel Elkin alongside the German VK out of grid 20 in car 10. Jack, the Queenslander. Matteo, the Dubai-based Italian driver. Kim Wareng, also for Gensa Motorsport. And the second generation racer, Davide Larini, for AKM Motorsport out of grid 24. Inabaki from Thailand, Victoria Blokina, the PHM racing duo, Rafael Narak and Ismail Ahmed from Nur Sultan in Uzbekistan. Frasinetti, Quantum Carlo, Guido Lucchetti and Frederick Lund, the Dane, back and starts out of grid 32. So the cars set off on the formation lap. A beautiful springtime day here. Temperature in the mid to high 20s, expecting another few higher than that tomorrow. This should be a cracking race as Kasper Stuka goes on through, and Frederick does not. This is Lorne the Dane back with the AKM Motorsport team. Speaking of which, 2 things to point out for AKM Motorsport. Tina Hausman had a massive end-for-end roll this morning. We unfairly apportioned blame to Rafael Narak. It was not his fault. It was contact between Frasinetti. What a hectic start for the Italian after that monstrous start line crash with the American Ugo Ciucco at Imola. Frasinetti lightly touching the back of Tina Hausman, who went end for end 4 times down into the Rio curves. She did emerge okay, but there was a concern that she had actually broken her arm. She is strapped up and she has a slight shoulder injury. She was hoping to be back on track for this race as Rashid Al-Daheri. Well, that was Rashid down in pit lane. Rashid, there's the sensation before the start of the race. Rashid Al-Daheri to start from the 5th row of the grid. The Emirati is not there. Well, his car's not on the circuit. Helmet off. He's out before the start. The Van Amersfoort racing team get a little bit of TV time. I'm sure they're not laughing at the misfortune of the Emirati, who's had a great start to his maiden debut season in Italian F4. Rashid Al-Daheri is out. Tina Halsman also out before the start. Frasinetti is on the grid, and we wish Tina her best, our best in her recovery. Ugo in car 3 to start on the outside of the front row of the grid. So the question is, once again, who can stop the red team? Prema Power team, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the grid. Let's go down to Laura Cola in pit lane.
So which is your physical condition now?
So luckily nothing is broken, but we have to check the muscle, the shoulder muscle, because we think it's like ripped off or torn.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Tina Halsman. That was her after that big accident this morning. Great to see her smiling. And there is the empty grid spot of Rashid Al-Daheri, who is out and will not make the start. Great to have your company here at the MotoGP circuit of Misano on Italy's Adriatic coast. Lindblad, the Londoner, on pole position. The green flag, the 5 red lights for the second time today. We race. Perfect start from Lindblad, but Stuka stalls. In fact, it was Zachary David who goes nowhere. Thankfully, the yellow flags are flying aggressively and the field go by the US racing car, which was stranded. Mid-pack gets underway as Lindblad leads the way down through the Rio curves for the first time. A nervous moment for everybody here at Misano after that monstrous crash 2 weeks ago. But everyone has managed to avoid the stricken US racing team car. Lindblad, the Londoner, leads. Ugo in second place. Wharton, Tappinen. Already Ivan Dominguez in car 17 looking aggressive as the field fan out down into La Quercia. In fact, it was Stuka, apologies. It was Casper. Apologies to Zachary David. I did get it right the first time. Zachary has gone through. He's up into position 5. Casper Stuka, one of the championship favourites, avoided by the rest of the pack, is going through in 28th position. What a disaster as the first of the Van Amersfoort racing cars, as Ivan Dominguez pulls out and tries to make up a place. Just behind is the Tuscan, Nicola Lacorte, down the back straight for the first time. Into turn 14, the Caro curves. Lindblad, the Londoner, leads from the New Yorker. Ugo Ugochukwu, great start from Alfio Spina. Il Siciliano, car 9 in position 8. As Lindblad leads the Prema Power team drivers 1, 2, 3 and 4. Dominant, the team from Vicenza, Matias Ferreira. Down the inside goes wheel to wheel with his Van Amersfoort racing teammate Brundle Butterwear. That is the second time this season the VAR teammates have gone wheel to wheel. It ended in tears for Dominguez and Brundle in the last lap of race 4 at Imola. Thankfully, this time they go on through Matias Ferreira, charging up through the field. There is the Alpine F1 Junior Academy driver, a boy from Brasilia in South America. Before the start of the season, he was one of the favourites for the championship. He has had a disastrous start, and that is putting it politely, but now he's on the charge as the Van Amersfoort racing drivers go wheel to wheel. The two teammates, Kim Wareng and Ariel Elkin, out of La Quercia for the second time. Lindblad leads by 7/10 of a second. Ugochukwu, P2, and James Wharton, 3. The Australian finishing 3rd this morning as well. His championship attack back on track as Dominguez on the back of Zachary David. What a disaster for Casper Stuka, who's now pulled into pit lane at the end of the first lap. We concentrate on this battle as Dominguez tries the outside line. Zachary David. There is Bora in the background, and spinner Dominguez down the inside. Nicely done into turn 14. And the boy from Fatima in Portugal. Well, he was telling us he needed a miracle before the start of this race to make the podium. He did so in Imola. He may well do it. Dominguez is flying up into position 5. There's Jack Beaton, car 45. His Australian teammate locks up down into turn 1, as does Verheera. The rest of the field going on through. Ethan Isha, the Swiss driver, in car 27 for the Jensen Motorsport team. Ominous for Arvid Lindblad. Fastest lap of the race for the London, the Red Bull Junior at this early stage, James Agozzi. There is the American for PHM Racing. This happened just a few moments ago. Down into turn 14, going straight ahead. One of the RSGP drivers. It is David Larini. In fact, the AKM driver has parked at the end of turn 14, where the field are approaching in just a moment. A local yellow only for the moment. We stay green with Lindblad leading. There is Spinner going through just ahead of his countryman. The Sicilian leads the driver from Montebelluna, north of Venice, Brando Baduea. Brando falls back to P9, then the Tuscan, Nicola Lacorte. There is a double waved yellow flag in turn 14. Agozzi, there's the American for PHM Racing. P13, Jack, the Australian. That's beaten in car 45. Behind the American. And then Ethan Isha tries to take the Queenslander. Fabulous racing in the opening stages of race 2, round 2, the Italian F4 Championship. But it is the driver from the King's England, appropriately enough, on the day that King Charles is crowned as head of the British Commonwealth. The driver from London, the Red Bull Junior leads. There's the Sicilian Spinner. Up into P8 in car 9 for BDM Racing. Verheera going on through as well. He's a position outside the points. He's about to be 2 positions outside the points because John Marco Pradell, the Sydney sider, takes the South American. Nice pass for GP. And he's now just a position outside the top 10. Another point scoring finish for the Australian. Verheera going slowly. In fact, Verheera surely has got a problem. He is in trouble. Verheera slowing. There is Beaton going on by. Matthias Verheera falling back through the pack. He loses another position. The car looks relatively straight. As Valentin pulls up the inside, still double waved yellow flags in turn 14, where the field are approaching now at the end of the back straight. What a disappointment for Matthias Verheera, who's slowing down the back straight. Unless it's a slow puncher, he will only know it. Quintarelli going through. Kim, Lou, Pirombaki, Narak, Frasinetti, Vittoria Blottina, Ismail Ahmed, Quandam Carlo, Lucchetti, and Frederick Lund from pit lane, the final runner in position 28. Nice move by Kim Waring on Matteo Quintarelli. Out front, the gap 1.1 seconds from the Englishman back to the American. This is Ivan Dominguez, as Akshay sets the fastest lap of the race in position 7. The Indian Singaporean from the United States of America for the German team. Akshay, car 31 in position 7. And the track has now been cleared, incidentally, at turn 14, so we carry on racing green. Larini has been extracted from the gravel, but the Italians' afternoon is over. Zachary David in car 20. As you see, the leaders go down into La Quercia. David from Bora. And then Spinner behind. Badoea and Lacorte still in position 10. There's James Agozzi going on through. Jack Beaton on your screen. The Queenslander in car 45. His parents, his grandparents here at the circuit, they've travelled from the bottom of the world to see their boy race in round 2 of the Italian F4 Championship. Round 2 of 7 for 2023. And don't forget, recently announced, in fact, it was announced over the weekend of Imola, as we see Spinner go down the inside. Nicely done. And the Sicilian takes the boy from Montebelluna. charging on through. Spinner passes Brando, and the Tuscan sits in behind. There's Nicola Lacorte, who's been caught by the Australian, just getting back to that point. Newly announced for 2023, the all-new European Formula 4 Championship, the 3-round challenge. Monza, Mugello, and Barcelona in Catalonia for the first time. The Automobile Club of Italy, under the direction of the FIA, of course, with WSK promotion. That will be a cracking 3-round series for 2023, effectively making it 10 events for this, the 10th anniversary season of the world's most competitive junior motor racing series. As we see Nicola Lacorte going through the Tuscan. Look at the lead from Lindblad, 1.4 seconds back to the American Ugochukwu Wharton. Looking at another third place, needs to get points, does James. Lacorte with the Australian behind him. The first Australian, James Wharton, just a single 5th place. A DNF at Imola. It was a disastrous start for the driver who won the United Arab Emirates Championship. Here's his countryman charging on through, and now he goes wheel to wheel with Nicola as they race down the back straight. He's almost in the grass. The car bottoms out. Wheel to wheel, side by side at over 200 k's an hour. John Marco takes him. And the Queenslander now up into position 9. The US racing driver passes car 47 for the Prema Power Team, but he goes wide. He knows that he covers his line. Nicely done by GP, who's in position 9. Goes wide on the exit, does Ivan Dominguez in position 5. That's John Marco's countryman, James Wharton. A disastrous start by his own admission. He was the fastest driver on the circuit at Imola. The United Arab Emirates Formula 4 champion to start 2023. The 10th anniversary season, which dates back to 2014, but he needs a good bag of points. He had a 3rd place podium this morning, and he sits in behind the American Ugo here this afternoon. There's their teammate going on through Arvid Lindblad, 1.8 seconds for the Red Bull Junior. Tuukka Tappinen, P4 for the Finn, who won this morning, race 1. The first race, victory of his Italian career. He finished vice champion to James over in the Emirates. And then the first non-Prema Power Team car, it's Ivan Dominguez in P5. Just over 200 kilometres an hour for James, with the benefit of the slipstream. Not as fast at Imola. If you miss round 1 of the series, record speeds recorded for Formula 4. Aurelia Nobel, she was fastest through the speed trap at 252.8 kilometres an hour. That is absolutely flying. Just over the 200 mark here at the MotoGP circuit of Misano, as we look at the battle for 2nd place. The American from the Australian, the Englishman on this, the 6th day of May. Lindblad leads, the gap 2.1 seconds. There's Tuukka in P4. Dominguez, David Border, Spinner up to 8. Badoer has retaken P9 from John Marco Pradel. As we approach half race distance of the 2nd of 3 races here, the championship leader, Lindblad leads. He is destroying the field here this evening. So the sun's soon starting to set. If you're just joining the coverage now, sensation before the start. Rashid Al-Baheri, a strong run inside the top 10, both at the first round at Imola and also this morning out before the start. So still the Prema Power Team. Run 1, 2, 3 and 4. We approach half race distance. We are trying to find out what has happened to Rashid Al-Bahedi, Emirati. This is Zachary David going on through. Car 20, position 6. Bora, car 31, in position 7. Arvid Lindblad is the championship leader. He is the race leader as well. He is destroying the field here this evening. The sun will soon set as the field head down into Tramonto curve. The Italian corner, which literally translates into the sunset corner. You're about to see why as we look at this battle. Further back as Akshay Bora dives down the inside into La Huerta. He takes David. They go wheel to wheel. Fabulous racing from the two teammates. David in car 20, he's on the outside. Bora in car 31. Zach on the attack, cuts back, and they go wheel to wheel down the back straight at over 200 kilometers an hour. Spinner in the background trying to drag himself into this battle. Fantastic racing between the two US racing teammates, but they're losing time to Spinner, the Sicilian. He is a fair way back though, 1.3 seconds, as the two teammates for the US racing team go wheel to wheel. Half race distance, race 2, round 2 of the Italian F4 Championship. Frederick Lund, we got a glimpse of the Dane who was starting from pit lane. We're getting word from race control. He is under investigation for not respecting the starting procedure. The afternoon goes from bad to worse. And now he's been issued with a mechanical defect flag. Frederick Lund circulating down in 27th position. A disastrous afternoon for the returning Frederick Lund from Denmark. For the AKM Motorsport team. It has not been all bad though for AKM Motorsport. The reigning champion, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who took victory in the 2022 championship. What a stunning title win that was. Well, earlier this afternoon, he also took his first ever GT win, racing for his own family AKM team in an AMG Mercedes, taking victory in the first round of the Italian GT3 championship. Not more than an hour ago here at the Misano circuit, Kimi Antonelli, who won the Prema Power for the Prema Power team. Speaking of which, Rashid Al-Bahedi is down with Laura.
So Rashid, what happened?
Well, unfortunately, when we're all going out the box, we always try to get out as fast as possible to be able to have a good enough time to warm up the tires. And unfortunately, we bunched up a lot, and then the driver behind me hit me. So I had damage with the car and was unable to continue the race. And unfortunately, it's a problem because we weren't able to do the race, but we'll look at the bright side and see what we can do tomorrow with the fresher tires. And overall, we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, disappointing for the Emirati, but a really good professional response. He'll be back tomorrow. No complaining, no whinging. He'll get back on with it for the final race tomorrow morning as we look at this battle for the final positions inside the top 10. Nicola Lacorte locks up, trying to avoid John Marco Pradell. There is Spinner just ahead, and James Acozzi just behind. They go wheel to wheel. Pradell tries to defend. Lacorte just has to send it. They almost touch. They'll be slow on the exit, and the American knows it. James takes the first driver. Goes by the Tuscan. Nicely done by the driver from Miami, Florida, USA. You know what's going on over there this weekend. Now he runs out of road, down into La Huerta. This gives Pradell breathing space. Wheel to wheel. Lacorte in James Acozzi. Nicola runs out of road. Still does not relent. Goes wheel to wheel with the recently crowned WSK Supermaster Series champion and the Tony Kart Racing team driver from 7 days ago at Cremona. Now with PHM Racing. Goes wheel to wheel with Nicola Lacorte. The Tuscan tries to intimidate the American. You know that's near on impossible. He's on the marbles, but he holds on. The American trying to go by the Tuscan. Pradell has escaped clear, thankfully for his sake of this battle. Going on through, setting off after the Sicilian, Alfio Spinner. Hugely disappointing for Rashid Al-Bahedi. You heard from him in pit lane. Contact on the formation lap, too much damage. That happened off camera. Lindblad demoralizingly destroys the field with a 35 dead. The gap is 3 seconds. back to his American teammate Ugo James in position 3. And the day gets worse for the AKM Motorsport team. This is the Dane, Frederick Lund, in car 87, a new front nose cone. That was what the mechanical defect flag was displayed just a moment ago. We go back to the battle for a second. Now Ugo has to defend. Watch James down into turn 8. This is La Cuercha, and Tuca's not far behind as well. Ugo goes very wide. James gets the run on the outside, and the two Prema Power teammates go wheel to wheel. Fantastic racing. Keep it clean, boys. Don't throw it away from here. Although Tuca, their teammate, is probably hoping they do. Down into pit lane, Raphael Narak. A new front wing for the Frenchman as well. Raphael Narak, one start in the championship in 2022. That was at Monza after racing in the French Formula Renault Euro Cup in 2021 and 22. This battle rages on, and James takes him. Wharton slow on the exit. Tuca has come from a mile back. The Finn who won this morning. And the Prema trio, 2, 3 and 4. Tuca up the inside of turn 16. The Ferrari Juniors, 2nd and 4th. The McLaren Junior, Ugo, in 3rd place. The Red Bull Junior from the Kings England, he's gone. Lindblad leads by 4.5 seconds as we move into the final third of race 2, round 2, the Italian F4 Championship here at Misano. Ugo Chulko, 3rd in the British Formula 4 Series in 2022. 3rd in the UAE Series, which was won by James Wharton, car 13 in 2nd. Tuca Tabanen was vice champion of the Arabic Series to start the season. Ugo P3, Lindblad, wow. 2 starts in 2022 with Van Amersfoort Racing. The protege of Formula E, Formula 2 driver Oliver Rowland, who has mentored young Arvid. The British driver with the Swedish and Indian heritage. He's gone. He's simply disappeared down the back straight. The gap is 4.5 seconds. James up into 2nd place. This is what James Wharton needed. A good bag of points here this weekend after a disappointing first round. P3 this morning, he's up into P2. As Zachary David in P6 on the back of Dominguez. And Bora in P7. Badoer, Spinner, Pradel. That's the top 10 for you as we move into the final third of race 2, round 2 of the Italian Championship. The shadows are getting longer here at Misano, and the lead from the Londoner Lindblad is getting larger. Fastest lap of the race at 35 dead, 35.079. So now that Wharton has broken clear of Ugo Chulko, we'll check the gaps. In fact, if anything, he has brought him down somewhat to Arvid. In fact, it's coming down rapidly. Just in the last lap. Let's hope for the Londoners' sake he does not have a problem. Still the Prema quartet, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Dominguez P5 in car 17, a day after his 17th birthday. Uses every part of the racetrack, does Lindblad. Turns in decisively, doesn't work the wheel too aggressively, and lets the car flow, run smoothly as they go down the back straight. Bora, car 31 in P7. Lindblad smooth on the power, trying to keep the Pirelli tyres alive. The 10th anniversary season of the Italian F4 Championship. Back when Lance Stroll, the current Aston Martin Formula 1 Grand Prix driver, took the first title for the Prema Power team, we were still racing with Pirelli tyres. We were still powered by Tartas. Sorry, powered by Arba, the 1.4 litre turbocharged engine, and of course the Tartas chassis. This is the new generation Tartas. And ever since the beginning, the original promoter, WSK Promotion. This is Raphael Narak, and this is why he was in trouble. Goes wheel to wheel with Ismail Ahmed. And the Uzbek loses the front wing. which is about to go underneath the car. And the driver from Nur Sultan in Almaty, Uzbekistan, will have to pit for a new front wing imminently. The gap is certainly coming down from Lindblad to Wharton. It was out to 4 seconds. Lindblad, the fastest driver on the circuit, with a 35.079, but Wharton is taking chunks out of him. It is down to 1.7 seconds. James has dropped off Ugo for P3. There is Tuka in the background. The familiar silver bell helmet of the driver from New York, USA, who took a dominant victory in race 3 at Imola. Race 2 it was, in fact. That nasty start line crash when the car stalled on him with a broken clutch. Still in contention, well and truly for the championship, as is this car 13, the Ferrari Junior. James Wharton, the gap is down to 1.7 seconds. Lindblad, surely he's just controlling it from here. It is a 30-minute plus 1 lap race. And we've just gone over the 24-minute mark. A safety car would destroy the lead of Lindblad. 1.748 seconds. There is Ugo under attack now from Tuka Tapinen. The Ferrari Juniors in 2 and 4. The McLaren Junior in 3rd place. And the Red Bull Junior still in position 1. There's Dominguez in P5. The US racing duo, David Bora. 0.7 of a second between those two. Fabulous racing between the two teammates. And respect shown. And Brando Badoer in the background in P8. The list of retirements is long. Rashid Al-Baheri out before the start. Aurelia Nobels also. Larini into the gravel. Matias Ferreira. Well, our boy from Brazil retiring early on after charging his way into the top 10 early on in the race. And Kasper Struka sensationally stalling on the line. 27 drivers still in the race. It is England, Australia, the United States, and Finland running 1, 2, 3, and 4. Another 1/10 of a second from Wharton out of Lindblad. As we close in on the back of Akshay Bora, younger brother of Nikhil Bora, racing in the Formula Regional European Championship. Here's Nikhil, his father Bunty, watching from Bunty, I don't know where you are, New York, Singapore, somewhere in the world. Maybe you're here at the circuit, I haven't run into you yet. Either way, it's a good performance from Akshay Bora in P7. The US racing duo, they finished P2 in the championship with the Irishman Alex Dunn, who's now racing in the British F3, the British GB3 Championship. Some habits die hard. Yeah, US racing really want to take the fight to the Prema Power team. While behind the 8 ball, where Kasper Struka, well, he won the first race of the series at Imola, but stalled on the start. He has also retired. David P6, Bora P7, the team of Gerhard Unger and Ralf Schumacher. That will not be enough to take the fight to the Prema Power team, who still run 1, 2, 3, and 4. The gap, 2.2 seconds. Lindblad is surely controlling it. There is Zachary David going through in car 20. His teammate just behind. They work together to try and take the Portuguese driver, Ivan Dominguez, on the podium at Imola, flying the flag for the Dutch team of Fritz van Amersfoort. The shadows get longer here at Misano, out of turns 14, 15. Coming onto the start-finish straight to start lap 18. Getting something of a slipstream from the Portuguese driver. And David pulls out ever so slightly to try and make car 20 big in the back of the mirrors of Ivan Dominguez. Over the ripple strip, straight through, in fact, here at Misano, down through the Rio curves. The Misano circuit, built back in 1970, which will host the World Superbike Championship in a month's time. There are the shadows getting longer. And we are about to go into the sunset corner. You're about to see why. It is called Tramonto in Italian. It literally means sunset. This is La Quercia, turn 8, in the dying stages of race 2, round 2, the Italian F4 Championship here at Misano. Now they approach sunset corner. The gap out to 2.2 seconds. Slight lock-up from Dominguez ahead. He's losing time from Tappanen. What a performance from the Prema Power team. Underline the word Prema Power. They are dominating once again. Dominguez for Van Amersfoort Racing Team. They've twice won the title, 2021 with Ollie Behrman. Flames out the exhaust of Dominguez's car. And 2 years prior with the Norwegian Dennis Hauger. We'll check the gap. It was 2.265 seconds last time between Lindblad and Wharton. Akshay turns in onto the start-finish straight to start the penultimate lap of the race. Lindblad, the gap is out to 2.5 seconds. What a performance from the championship leader. The multiple WSK kart racing champion, largely with the Kart Republic team. There's a small moment there from Zachary David. Has to make a correction. His teammate gives him racing room, was too far back to capitalise, was Akshay Bora. On the absolute ragged edge here at Misano, Lindblad, the driver who lives under the flight path of Heathrow Airport, is absolutely flying. Yes, pun intended, because the Red Bull Junior is destroying the field and extending his lead in the championship. What a performance from Arvid Lindblad. Dominguez, P5, second year in the series. A pole position in 2022, a podium at the first round of the series at Imola. And he's in P5 at the moment, just defending from the US racing duo. This is the end of the penultimate lap of the race. Lindblad is about to cross the line to start his final tour here at Misano. Another crushing performance for the Prema Power team. A world-class act, that is no exaggeration. If times were different, if it was the 1980s, well, surely a Prema Formula One team entry would be imminent. It's 2023 and it's not quite that simple, but the team from Vicenza, not far from Venice, have dominated World Single-Seater Motor Racing champions in the FIA Formula 2 Series, the Formula 3 Series, the Formula Regional European Championship, and multiple times, including last year with Andrea Kimi Antonelli, they have taken out this, the most competitive junior motor racing series in the world. It looks as though they're going to finish 1, 2, 3, and 4 as Lindblad heads into Sunset Corner for the final time. The gap, 2.7 seconds. Lindblad is playing with the field here this afternoon. It blew out to 4 seconds. He backed off to keep life into the Pirelli tyres with race 3 to come tomorrow morning. Down the back straight at over 200 k's an hour. He will extend his lead in the championship. He's still on the absolute ragged edge. The car bottoms out, comes out of turn 14, out of Carrow curves. And the driver from the King's England on the day, the King Charles, asserts his rule over the British Commonwealth. Dr. Marco, we hope you've got room in your team in 2026, because Arvid Lindblad is a class act. The Red Bull Junior crosses the line to lead home a Prema 1, 2, 3, and 4 here at Misano. What a performance from the Prema Power team. Lindblad wins, Wharton second, Ugo third, and Tuukka Tappanen, who won race 1 this morning, in P4. Dominguez, the first car that is not from Vicenza, in P5. Björn Bachti crosses the line just ahead of Jack Beaton. Here's Valentin Klus. He will be disappointed with position 18 after running inside the top 6 at Imola. Untouchable Arvid Lindblad. He takes the victory in the end by 3.5 seconds. and with that has extended his lead in the championship. Good bag of points for Wharton. He's back on track. We'll check out the championship point score for you in just a moment, but the day belongs to Arvid Lindblad. Well, certainly race 2 after his teammate Tuukka Tappinen. P4 here this afternoon, but a race win this morning. And Lindblad, after 5 races of what was going to be a 21 race series, now 22, with the 4 races we held at Imola, has extended his lead in the championship. Huge congratulations to Lindblad. Very serious driver, very professional, very quick. A class act, pulls into pit lane, and Lindblad takes the victory. Wharton P2, Ugachukwu P3, Tappinen, Dominguez, Zachary David, Akshay Bora, both for the US racing team. Brandel P8, Il Siciliano, ahead of the Australian, John Marco Pradell. Another point scoring finish for the driver from the northern beaches of Sydney in position 10, also for the US racing team. Race winner at Imola, La Corte P11 from Agozzi. Isha Elkin, good drive from Ricky Liu. We spoke to him on the grid. He finishes in position 15, ahead of his fellow Asian driver, the Thai, Biram Bhakti. And then the DNFs, they start to mount up. And the non-start of Rashid Al-Daheri. That was the story before we even went green. So the championship looks like this. Arvid Lindblad, wow, 104 to Ugo 63. La Corte, P11, no points this afternoon, but still third with 56, ahead of Brando Badoea. James Wharton, after race 1 this morning, he was 10th in the series. And the Australian moves up to P5 ahead of Tuukka Tappinen, Zachary David, Alfio Spinner, Kasper Stuka, and Ivan Dominguez. The race winner, the championship leader, is Arvid Lindblad. P3 for car 3, Ugo Ugachukwu. Second for James Wharton, which puts the Australian 5th in the championship. P1 in the championship is the race 2 winner, Arvid Lindblad, who's in pit lane with Laura Kohler.
So a second place in race 1, and now the victory. A very good start in this weekend.
Yeah, no, really good day. Really good race now. The speed was really good. Got a good start, maintained the lead, and then pull the gap in the beginning. And then was trying to manage the situation. Don't think I did probably was a bit too slow some laps, probably a bit too fast on others. But anyway, the speed was really good. The team have done a phenomenal job. The car was mega to drive. And yeah, like you say, really good result both races. Yeah, in both races for today, for the championship, and really excited for tomorrow. We start pole again, so yeah, really looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Arvid Lindblad from pole position got off the line as Kasper Stuka went nowhere. Thankfully, this time the field avoided the stranded pole. The yellow flags flying aggressively down into turn 1. Lindblad, the Londoner, led from pole position. And from there, nobody, including his teammates, saw which way the bridge went. Ugachukwu up into 2nd place, a position he would hold for the majority of the race. Matthias Verheerder was carving his way through the field, trying to make up for a disappointing start. This was a nice move down into turn 16 as he went wheel to wheel with the Queenslander Jack Beaton. But his race would end not long after. David Larini into the gravel, and the 2nd generation racer was out. Matteo Quintarelli fighting with the Jensen Motorsport duo. Out front, Lindblad built a lead of 4 seconds. It fell back to 2 as he managed the pace, and his teammates went wheel to wheel. James tried the inside, then went round the outside. And the Australian took the American for position 2 out front on the day that King Charles was crowned as the head of the British Commonwealth. The driver from the Kings England, Arvid Lindblad wins race 2, round 2 of the Italian F4 Championship here at Misano. $104 to 63 points is his advantage in the championship. For regular viewers, you'll know my mathematics is less than poor. Give me a moment. 40 odd points, 41 points. 41 points is the lead from Lindblad over Ugo Chulko as we wait for the drivers to make their way up onto the podium here at Misano. The same podium where the winners of both the World Superbike Championship and the World MotoGP Championship will stand. And it will be appropriately, correctly enough, God Save the Queen. Do we sing now, God Save the King? After the events of earlier this afternoon that we hear here in Italy. Drivers to still come up onto the podium. This has been race 2. We've still got race 3 to go tomorrow morning. Finally, the drivers make their way up. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for race 3 to conclude the second round of the Italian F4 Championship. From here, we go to Spa-Francorchamps up in Belgium, another current Formula One Grand Prix circuit on the calendar. And we're looking forward to that, although checking out the weather from the last few days in the Ardennes forests, not so much looking forward to that. It has been beautiful here on Italy's Adriatic coast. As Ugo, car 3, position 3, the American, second in the championship on 63 points. James back on track in P2 and now P5 in the championship, second place here this afternoon. God Save the King. Well may we sing, but the question is, who can stop Lindblad, who after 5 races of the Italian F4 Championship is already looking good as a championship favourite. The Red Bull Junior from London in England wins with a dominant performance. Race 2 here at Misano. It's a Prema Power team, 1, 2 and 3. Once again, delighted to have Mr. Giancarlo Minardi present the trophies. Third place, Ugo. Second place, James. And to the winner, Arvid, a legend of Italian and world motorsport. Not too far away from Minardi Day at Imola to celebrate the achievements of his great team over the past few decades. God save now the King, as we ask the question, who can stop the Prema Power team? They finish 1, 2 and 3, and the driver from what is now their Kings England, Arvid Lindblad, takes victory in race 2, round 2 here at Misano. Great to have your company. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. for race 3, live from Misano.